This week, we have two women's basketball players that will try to help me improve my game. Junior elementary education major Emily Theobald and senior exercise science major Aryah Aungst are in studio this week to talk about their unorthodox journeys to Marywood and reflect on their basketball careers. Beyond the Arch starts now. Without any further ado, let's get started. We have two members of the women's basketball team, Aryah Aungst and Emily Theobald, in studio today. Ladies, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
So we've talked a lot, and I know your story for coming to Marywood is slightly different than everybody else, and it's kind of cool you have that in common. So rather than starting with the same question we usually start with, I'm going to start you with a different question, which is what your transition was like going from high school to your first school, and then going off of that, transitioning from there to here.
So from high school, I went to TV-University in Maryland. I actually had no intentions of playing college basketball at all. I joined the club team because I wanted to be a part of something still. And I just found like it wasn't the right school for me. Like it was cool, like we went to Ohio State for tournaments and Penn State, and we were really good too. But I was looking to actually play in college like midway through at Towson. So then I actually emailed Tara Machako here at Marywood. I have a friend here, he plays lacrosse, Zach Bradbury. He told me all about Marywood and he said it was a great school. So then that's why I emailed Tara Machako. And then she got back to me and she said she'd love to have me on the team. So then I applied to Marywood and I got in, and then that's why I came here. And the team was like super welcoming. I loved it from the start, and I knew as soon as I stepped foot on campus that this was going to be my home for the next 4 years or 3 years.
Emily?
I started at Marywood-University, which is in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I was that high school senior that was worried about going a little farther away from home and I wanted to play basketball, and that's really all I looked at. I didn't really look at the educational program that I wanted to go for, which was early childhood education and special ed. And once I got to Alvernia, I realized that the basketball wasn't really what I thought it was going to be, and the education program wasn't what I thought it was either. So it also wasn't a good fit for me. So I started the college process all over again, just looking at the education program and saying that if basketball could work out, then great, I'd play basketball, but it wasn't a priority for me. And so I narrowed it down to 2 schools, and Marywood is where I'm at now. And I commute, so that was different for me. So it was harder to make friends. And I was glad that I was able to play on the basketball team because I immediately had friends. I didn't have to search for them.
Yeah, that really kind of leads me into my next question, because I know at least for me coming in as an athlete as well, having that team atmosphere really helped you create some friendships and just getting to know some people quicker around campus. So could you maybe expand on that a little bit more about what, like I know, Aryah, you said that the team when you first got here was very welcoming and you made friends really quick, but could you maybe talk a little bit more about maybe like get a little more specific if you know what I mean there?
Well, when I got here my sophomore year, I came in with Caitlin, Marissa, Sam Bruno. She doesn't go here anymore, but we kind of like found each other and we became close because we were like those freshmen, even though I was a sophomore, and we became close right away. And the upperclassmen at the time, they were super welcoming too, and they just gave us good leadership, and we like became a family. So.
And for me, the hardest part of leaving Alvernia was my friends, because I was worried about making friends at my new school. And like I said before, commuting makes it really hard at any school to make friends. So when I got here, Coach Hoko put us into lifting partners, and my partner was Sam Bruno, who transferred out of Marywood, unfortunately, but she was like my first friend here. And she introduced me to the rest of the team. I also knew Natasha Hessling because we had played basketball in high school together. So that was a good connection. And Kate Riley is the same major as me. So she became a friend really quick too.
Now, was it a big impact on you when you first made the decision to transfer? Because I know for some people, when they decide to move on from one school to another, it kind of like it holds you back a little bit. Like I know sometimes not all your credits transfer and it gets really stressful. Like, did you have to go through any of that sort of issues?
Yeah, I actually have 18 extra credits that I'm graduating with. Yeah, so I mean that's like 30 grand if you put that into perspective. So it sucks, but like I wouldn't trade it because my memories here, my friendships here are so much better than Towson. I mean, it was really hard leaving because like I did have a core group of friends at Towson, but like they weren't like my people, if that makes sense. Like here at Marywood, like I found my group of people.
Yeah.
For me, I had 2 or 3 classes that didn't really count for anything, which was unfortunate because then I was behind in my program. So I'm actually still trying to catch up from that. And I'm currently taking 20 credits this semester, which is a lot, especially balancing that with the sport and commuting. So I'm still feeling the effects of transferring, but I also wouldn't trade it either because I've made some really great friends.
Now, I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but Aryah being exercise science and Emily being elementary ed, what was the thing that really kind of drew you in to your major and what you decided you wanted to do?
Well, I actually want to go to grad school for occupational therapy. And I also want to look to be a personal trainer and get certified. And the exercise science program is really good here. And one of my main professors, Lindsay Howard, she was my assistant coach at the time, my sophomore year. So she really helped me and she told me everything about the program. And she gave me a tour of like the gym and all the classrooms and just gave me a rundown of like what it would be like. And I was instantly like drawn to it, so.
And I've always wanted to be a teacher. I really didn't have any trouble finding out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, which was really fortunate for me. My dad is an elementary school teacher, so I spent a lot of time in his classroom helping him set up and making bulletin boards and stuff like that. So that's what really drew me in. And I am currently in a 5-year program to get my master's as a reading specialist. And I think that might be the route that I want to take more so than my early childhood or special ed degrees. So that's where I'm looking at right now.
Do you find it difficult, I mean, especially you now saying you're taking 20 credits, do you find it kind of difficult to balance playing basketball, especially in the season that you're in, because you get to go for what, like 10 days over Christmas?
Yeah. What did we get, like 12 days?
Yeah, it depends on the year.
Yeah.
So, like, do you find it, like, difficult to balance school with being, like, with athletics and everything?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, basketball is the longest season. It's 5 months. It's from October to March, basically. And, I mean, we don't really have much free time. You have to really, like, be good at time management and, like, make sure you're on top of your work because you do have that 2-hour practice. And it's not just 2 hours. Like, you have to get there early. You have film certain days, and then certain days when we have game days, it's like an all-day event. So it's like tough.
A lot of times on weekends is when a typical student would maybe catch up or work to get ahead on their schoolwork. But we say at the beginning of the season, like, get ready to give up every Saturday of your life for the next 5 months, which is completely true. And on Saturdays for game days, it's an entire day event. So it's really hard to not be able to take advantage of that free time to get caught up on your work, but also at the same time, we find that we have better grades when we're in season because we have to prioritize our work, and any spare time that we have is spent doing homework. So on the bus, we bring our backpacks. When we have team dinners, we have our homework like right next to us. If we have 30 minutes before practice, before everyone else gets to the locker room, we're doing our homework at the tables in the gym or in our lockers or in the training room on the tables, and the trainers help us out. Like, so we really have to prioritize our work.
Brings you back to high school days a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a break here on Beyond the Arch, but when we come back, we're going to send it over to the gym where we're going to play a little basketball, and I'm going to test my skills a little bit.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to Beyond the Arch. We're here at the gym. It's time to have a little practice with Aryah Aungst and Emily Theobald, and hopefully not get shown up too much. I gotta try to make some shots and try to remember how to dribble a basketball, so let's get into it.
We're gonna do like a shooting drill and like ball handling.
Okay.
Crossover at the pacer. So do a crossover at the elbow, crossover in the corner, crossover at the pacer, corner, and then,
So, elbow,
and then
corner.
over there. We're gonna finish at the elbow.
I'll just watch it first. I'll watch it
No
first.
shot. No shot.
Okay. That's easy enough. I really almost fell on every corner. I think one. I almost fell on that first. Back.
We're gonna do a shooting drill now. So.
Ryan's gonna shoot.
We do corner to elbow, and then we do elbow to elbow, and then same thing over there.
So I'm gonna pass it. You rebound your shot.
We're gonna do 5 pieces. Okay.
at In the Zone, and we had to shoot 100 free throws, and I went 94 for 100. That was also 6 years ago. But that was also 6 years ago.
Right, when you're what, 12? Five makes it each spot. So we're...
Yeah, I'm getting close to that. I've mostly been doing live classes because I wanted to have fun. Alright, I know I'm walking all around. Just try to keep me out of it.
Hey, shot, will you? 5. Started off with the ball handling drills. It was pretty rough, not gonna lie. He dribbled the ball out of bounds on the first time, but other than that, I didn't think he did too bad. So.
One thing I have to say about that is he didn't follow our directions. We told him we were going to cross over every time from one session, and he'd do it behind the back or between the legs in there. So during practice, that's something that we would get yelled at for. So you got to follow the directions all the way through. The second drill we did was a shooting drill where we went from corner to elbow, elbow to elbow, and then the opposite elbow to corner. And his shots weren't too bad, surprisingly. In the beginning, you were a little rusty, but after you got a hang of it for a while, he was pretty good.
He's also got to work on his free throws. Not good, dude. Not good.
70%. Aim for 70%.
I think he was at like 10%. And I'm being nice. I'm being nice.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Welcome back to Beyond the Arch. Continuing our conversation here with Aryah Aungst and Emily Theobald. And we're going to talk a little more about basketball now. And maybe the burning question on everybody's mind is what really drew you to want to play basketball, and when did you really start playing basketball?
I started when I was like 3. My parents said that I was bouncing a ball in the kitchen like all the time. They literally had to take the ball away from me. I know when I first played my first game, I fell in love with it like instantly. And then I just played throughout. And my dad used to play, so he really, showed me like how to play, and he'd take me out and we'd shoot and we'd do ball handling. And after every game, he'd tell me like what I did wrong and everything. So he was like a great mentor and the reason why I play.
My dad was the junior high girls basketball coach in 7th and 8th grade while I was growing up. And so I started being interested in basketball when I was 4 years old. And I would go to camps that he had, and his girls on his team were like my big sisters. And I learned to love the game through them and through my dad's coaching experience. And same with Aryah, like I picked up the ball and never looked back. And my family has been a huge support system, and my dad would bring me into the gym at nights after school, and we'd work one-on-one and stuff like that, and he's a big part of why I play.
Now, a lot of players growing up, and I know I did, played travel or AAU in basketball terms. So did you play AAU, and what kind of capacity did you play if you did?
So actually, softball was my main sport. My dad also played baseball, and he kind of directed me into, the softball world. And he really wanted me to go to college for softball. So I started playing travel softball like when I was like 10. And every weekend we'd play like 8 games, and I'd have like 3 or 4 practices a week. So I got burned out quickly. And by my senior year of high school, I hated it. I didn't want to go to college for it. I actually hurt my shoulder. I was like, Dad, I'm done. So, that was hard for him and me, but so yeah, I never played travel basketball, and I actually really regret it because, basketball was my first love, so.
Yeah, I completely get where you're coming from, getting burned out. A lot of my friends growing up that played baseball, played travel baseball. Yeah. Half them either are hurt or don't even play anymore.
My shoulder's shot, so I have tendonitis in it.
Well, yeah, like softball. You're not supposed to throw a ball like that. Right. It's not like a natural motion.
Yeah.
So, Emily?
For me, I played travel AAU basketball in 7th and 8th grade. And once I got to high school, my high school coach told us that she would rather us play for the school team, and we traveled instead of like playing for an outside organization. So in high school, I played travel basketball, but with my high school friends, and we'd go all over the place. So that was my experience. It was a little different than most, but yeah.
So both of you talked about your dad and their impact on you playing basketball. Would you say your dads are your mentors, or is there somebody else that yet really sticks out as like your one true mentor for the game of basketball?
My dad definitely is one of my main mentors for basketball, but also my high school basketball coach. He was like a legend in my area. He has over like 800 wins. When I got there, he was pretty old, obviously, but like he knows basketball. Like he taught me so much, and he improved my game. And he really saw something in me, and he helped me a lot. So I think he was definitely a pivotal role in my transition from middle school to high school and getting ready for college.
I think my dad was probably my main mentor. There wasn't really anyone in my area that was like a legend because I come from a small town. Not too many people there to begin with. So my dad is the one who would take me to the gym and shoot in the driveway, and he'd put me through ball handling circuits and encouraged me to play AAU when I was younger before I got to high school. And he's the main reason why I love basketball.
All right, so you probably already just answered this question. I know that everybody has that one coach that they can say, I can attribute a lot of my success to this coach and what they did for me. So who was that coach for you? I'm figuring that your high school coach is probably going to be your answer.
Yeah.
For me, in 8th grade, I had an AAU coach who actually is a Marywood alum, and she would gear up for practice and practice with us, and she was so intense and so energetic. When I first met her, I thought she was crazy, but after playing for her and playing with her during practices, she was the one that made me like say, wow, basketball is actually so fun all the time. Like even when you're hurting and you're physically in pain, like when your coach is doing it with you and you know that they're not just putting you through that just because, that was really impactful.
Was there one moment, now, Aryah, I know you're graduating, Emily, you're getting close. Has there been one moment, at least in your college career, that you can say, hey, this is why I know I belong playing college basketball?
That's a tough one. I think from the start, I mean, just how the team was so welcoming, and I mean, the first time I stepped on Marywood court, I was like, wow, like that feeling that I got, you know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So
I think this season in particular, there was one girl on my team that came up to me after a practice and was like, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for just being a really great leader and a really awesome friend. And I want you to know that I look up to you and I think you're awesome at basketball. And that like really hit me because no one had ever said that to me before. And I didn't really think I was doing anything special. But for her to come up to me and say that like made me feel like, wow, like I love these girls and they respect me and love me back.
Now, being upperclassmen, that kind of leads me into this last question here. What kind of a message can you give to some of the younger players on the team? Because I know your team especially is relatively young.
Well, to just not take it for granted, because it does fly by. I mean, I'm done, obviously, and yesterday I was a mess. So just basically go out every game and give it your all, and you know, just don't take it for granted.
I think to just not give up on it, because there's going to be times when it's hard and you think maybe you don't love it as much as you used to, but then there's a moment where it could be taken away from you, or you see it be taken away from someone else, and it makes you really appreciate it more than you did. So to not give up on the sport and always remember why you started playing and why you love it.
Those are some pretty powerful answers. I really do appreciate you guys coming on once again. And we're going to be back in just a second. We'll wrap up Beyond the Arch right after this.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
So who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
I want to thank Emily and Aryah for coming on the show tonight and for trying to help me improve my game. Next week, we'll be switching gears to the men's team as we continue Season 6 of Beyond the Arch. I'd like to remind you to subscribe to TV-Marywood's official YouTube channel to watch full episodes of BTA. Be sure to follow TV-Marywood on Twitter and Instagram, and like us on Facebook. Until next week, have a great night.